Good morning, everybody. As per usual, we have just started the recording for this webinar. Welcome. We're going to talk about WorkPoint Express today. Hopefully you know already WorkPoint Express. If not, then you will learn about it. What we will do today is not talk about WorkPoint Express with WorkPoint backend, but only focus on WorkPoint Express use with standard SharePoint. So if you're running a SharePoint solution together with your WorkPoint solution, or simply just have a SharePoint solution you need a better front end for, this is where you can learn what to do. WorkPoint Express is the front end for WorkPoint Server product, for the WorkPoint 365 product, for SharePoint Server or SharePoint Online. And it's the same WorkPoint Express application used for all of these. There's no difference. It's simply a matter of setting it up and connecting it. As per our current release, we are on version 5.6.1.0. So if you're not on that one yourself, if you're running WorkPoint Express, then go visit our download area on the support site to get it. And if you can't find it, then email support@workpoint.dk or contact your WorkPoint partner to get the latest version. There's a few new things in this one. One of them is the connection to Microsoft Groups, which I will demonstrate shortly. What you're seeing here is different applications with WorkPoint Express in it. WorkPoint Express on the desktop, as we have here, WorkPoint Express in Excel. This one is showing you with a WorkPoint backend, so you can note the difference from when you're working with the SharePoint backend here in PowerPoint and here in the Outlook. So it's the same, looks the same, if only a matter of whether you're working with SharePoint or with WorkPoint backend. So let's have a look of the things you can do with SharePoint and combined with WorkPoint Express. First of all, you have in your Outlook, you have your sidebar connected to what I've chosen to name a plain SharePoint Online. So there's nothing fancy about this SharePoint. It's only sites and lists. We haven't done any configuration to it. So if you have a customized SharePoint for an intranet or something like that, of course things might look a little different, but you will still see sites and lists in your system. We'll just start the video. As I said, we have connected to a plain SharePoint. You have your tabs on the top, history, and if you click the history, you will see where you've been. You can click the favorites and you can see your favorites. You can change the favorites. I'll show you. That little arrow there down there will let you open a bigger window so you can have more room for your documents, the list. As I said, there's a group integration. This is where the new thing where you can see your connected groups and you can choose from the drop down which group to connect to, or you can open the team associated with the groups and so on and so forth. Drilling down in my sites, I can of course open the hierarchy and go down to any underlying lists, and here I will add this document list to my favorites. So as you see, before there was one favorite, now there's two favorites, and clicking them will display the underlying documents. And you can of course take emails and drop them into any of the lists. If you are not set up completely for managing mails, there's a SharePoint setting for it. You will get a little notification that now this email has been journaled in SharePoint. This little color here is something you set up in your WorkPoint Express setting, so you can choose the color you want, and you'll simply get that little sign. So that's a good way to keep track on which mails you have organized in your SharePoint and which not. There are two here with no colors, and obviously they haven't been added to SharePoint. So a little bit about navigating in the tree structure, having your history and your favorites, and how you can expand the view to work with your documents on the lists. And of course the new thing, the group integration, where you can see the groups you're connected to. and open the associated Microsoft Teams that way. Moving on, we have some more about navigation, something with views, and how you can work with folders in WorkPoint Express. A lot of this is the same in WorkPoint backend, but there are a few differences. So if we're navigating down to a document library, you will see that you are displaying all documents. Sorry for the Danish. You'll see both emails and mails documents here, but you're using the view all documents, and I can change this view to another view. These views are the views that are set up in your SharePoint document list. So it's just WorkPoint Express is simply taking the views that's already been defined in SharePoint. Creating a folder. We want to organize things in folders. Sometimes you want to use folders, sometimes you use metadata, often a combination. I can recommend that. Not everybody is ready to lose the folders yet. Highlighting and cutting my emails and then dropping them into my email folder here. So now the mails will be moved into the folder in the SharePoint. Quite simple. And now you have a much more clean, just documents. Clicking on a document and clicking the properties will show you the properties from SharePoint. Again, you can have a much bigger view here. If you have a lot of metadata on, you would have bigger list. You can organize the way you look at the metadata. You can see all the properties, only the editable ones, or only the mandatory ones. It's a matter of how the user prefers to see what is important. As you can see here, there's both the author and the version of the document. You have all listed here. It's all created by SharePoint, but you can of course edit it from here. Clicking the checkout button will check out the document. And for those of you unfamiliar with the use of checkout, that creates a lock on the document so other users cannot edit your document. So right now this document with a little green arrow here is locked to me, and other users will not be able to change it. They can view it, but they can't make any changes. So when I'm done editing it, I can then click the properties again and check it back in. There will be the opportunity to put a version comment, and I know there is a little grammar error here, but I had already made the video, so I didn't bother changing it. Sorry for that. This is all SharePoint functionality that is available straight in your Outlook in your WorkPoint Express. So that was the working with different documents, creating folders, managing managing metadata, and checking in and checking out. And all metadata you work with in your SharePoint will be displayed and can be changed through WorkPoint Express one way or the other. We have, as you know, this is only working working with Outlook, but of course you have WorkPoint Express in Word, in Excel, in PowerPoint, and standalone. So if we look at working with Word, saving a document straight from Word is a very simple matter. We'll just write this document, very pleasing one. And then we will choose where to save the document in our structure. So clicking the document list, and then I will have the little upload to SharePoint button. Clicking that will provide me the metadata view, and I can then add the name. If there are required metadata more than just the name here, it would be popping up as well. So you can change all the metadata in this process. Saving it, and it will upload. It'll just restart the document, and then we have the pleasing document sitting right there. So that was simply saving straight from Word. No dramas with saving to a drive and then uploading to SharePoint. It's just a simple process. Now looking at saving from Explorer, that's also sometimes necessary. You saw before you can drag and drop from your Outlook with a mail or an attached document, but you can also work straight with WorkPoint Express like it was part of Explorer. You have here a list of documents from my OneDrive, and I open my WorkPoint Express desktop, the standalone version. Just have to load a few demo environments that I've set up. Often it would be that's done. So again, I will navigate to where I want to store my stuff. And I can choose to drag and drop to a folder or straight to the list. I can choose more than one document. There's no problems in that. So I will take a handful. I need to get up there. Of course, if I required it, I could have the setting of the WorkPoint Express to pop up and ask me for metadata for what I upload. It could be required if you want. You can control those settings as an administrator, and force the users to add metadata. Here we just upload them straight away, and they're now in the SharePoint library. If I want to manage the version control, some of you will be working with version controls on document, and of course we can manage that as well. Even with drag and drop, SharePoint will add a new version of a document whenever you save it, but if you drag and drop, there will also be a control on this. So if I have a look at my PowerPoint presentation here, which happens to be version 1.0, and I will then find my document here. Let's assume I get a new version from a colleague, and I'll simply drag and drop it. The system will realize that something is happening here. Okay, so we know this document already. Do you want to add a new version, or is it a mistake, or want to rename it? You have these options, and it's simply clicking the one you want to do. So adding a new version to this, we'll upload it and add the version. And it's just like standard SharePoint version control, and it will find the differences. You can compare the documents in the application, so you can see the differences. This is standard Microsoft technology. If you by chance are trying to upload a document with where your colleague have checked it out, the system will come and tell you that you cannot upload this document because it's checked out to another user, so you won't be able to change it. And as I said before, when it's checked out, it's locked. The WorkPoint Express will come and tell you with a little message saying, sorry, you can't do this. Then you have to wait for your colleague to check it in again before you can override it. Okay. Then, of course, we need to search documents, and we had made a little interface to search in the content of the document. SharePoint will index and browse through all the content, and we will, from WorkPoint Express, be able to search in a document library. Looking at this, I will click the search button, get this little interface, free text search, and I will look for please, because we just wrote this please in document. Results show me a number of places where please is in the pleasing document. We'll have a look at this job application instead, see if that's what we're looking for. There is a very hopeful sales director application here. So the search will be free text search in the document library, where you have any number of documents. You can find usually what you're looking for thanks to the free text search in the index in SharePoint. Now, you might have a number of different SharePoint solutions and WorkPoint solutions, hopefully, in your organization. You can add more than one in your WorkPoint Express. The little arrow up here will allow you to change between them, and I'll just demonstrate how you can change your set of or adding a new site, sorry. So this requires me to go to my settings. I will just take a site from this setup, but it could be a completely different SharePoint site collection. Let's assume we want to have site 3 as a standard separate site. Here's my settings. As you can see, I have a number of different demo setups. I will choose to add a site, and I will choose a SharePoint Online. Then I need the URL. So I'll look in my browser and I will copy the URL to this specific site collection. Note that I will delete the default in the end, otherwise it'll make a mistake. I need to go to the last dash after the site. I'll give it a name I can remember, so it's easy for me to switch between. And then of course I need the ADFS connection so I can log on to this. Now the system will ask me to restart when I have logged on. So I'll restart WorkPoint Express, and then I will be able to switch between to my new system. Down here we have site 3, and I can simply just click, and then I have only site 3 here. So I can add more site collections to my WorkPoint Express, pretty much as many as I like. If you get a lot, you'll have a long list, but if you have, typically people have an intranet or maybe something else in SharePoint, and they also have maybe a WorkPoint connection, so 3 to 4 is not uncommon. Somebody have both online and SharePoint servers they want to switch between. So there's the opportunities to add more sites to your WorkPoint Express. And that pretty much concludes the walkthrough of WorkPoint Express used with standard SharePoint. We will come back later with a webinar talking about with the WorkPoint backend. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, we've had that before. I'm probably going to have it again. There's a lot more opportunities when you have the WorkPoint backend, of course, but you can still work with both, and WorkPoint Express is serving as a quite easy to use interface to the SharePoint environment and the WorkPoint backend, of course. Thank you for now. Have a pleasant day.